Hey, it's Richard Cleveland from Earth School here again. We're going on a little excursion today. We're going to go up to our little secret spot and collect some wild leeks, or ramps as they're called here in the mountains. On the way up the mountain here, we're seeing a lot of basswood. And basswood is a very useful tree for many reasons. But notice the leaves first off. This is one identifying factor of them. Is that if you look at the leaf margin, the back of the leaf is not straight across. It's at an angle. Now, it doesn't do this to every single leaf, but you can clearly see that this happens quite a bit. Now, this time of year is early spring, and this is kind of big. But some of these smaller leaves, like this size, and even smaller, are not just edible, but also quite good. Very tasty. Very, very tasty. And you'll see that this is all bent over, and there's a wild grapevine that is kind of putting some stress on this basswood. This would be a good tree to collect actually for bow drill material, possibly for the inner bark for rope and cordage. So this would be a great example to do that. But this will get grapes on it too, of course, later in the year, so that's a bonus. I'm going to eat one more of these leaves, and then we're going to draw our attention down below this little canopy here. And we've got a bunch of violets here. Now, there's other plants mixed in, but these particular violets have white flowers. And there's something very unique about this that I just found out about. And that, these violet leaves have a wintergreen taste. How cool is that? Wow, that's really unique. That would be great. We're going to have to collect some of this for a salad tonight. Mixed in with this, we've got another edible plant, a medicinal plant called cleavers, which of course likes to cleave or stick on things. Also edible. Jewelweed is popping up here. The jewelweed, of course, is a plant that's noted for its ability to neutralize the urushiol, which are the oils in poison ivy and poison oak and poison sumac. And we even have a plant that's on the endangered list, or on the endangered watch list from United Plant Savers, and this is bloodroot. We'll do a later video on that when we get a better one to kind of show you. But just in this small area here, it's amazing what's in nature if you only take the time to slow down and look. Hey, so we're back, and we've reached our little secret destination. We're about ready to hike up the mountain. We're at pretty high elevation, and it's amazing to me how much food is already up here, even though it's a lot higher than down in the Piedmont. Right in front of me here, we have a yellow violet, more of a woodland species of violet, and this is edible as well. Now, I've been told that if you eat too many of this particular one, the yellow violet, and we'll make sure that we get the exact Latin name up on the screen for you here in a bit, or during the video. But I've been told if you eat too many of these, that can actually cause diarrhea. Well, I've never experienced that, so I can't speak with that firsthand. But if you're worried about that, if you look just a little bit to the right, we get into our more common purple violet, which sometimes has kind of whitish flowers, whitish. And of course, these are very common in people's yards, much more recognizable perhaps, but the leaves are the same. So this is just a sea of violet. There's another violet that we covered earlier, and we're going to make sure we stop there again so we can kind of show the comparison of all three. But this is just a lot of food right here. Oh, and of course, can't forget, we have our friend, the dandelion. Love dandelions. Won't let this opportunity go to waste. Wonderful. Grab a leaf for good measure. And has a little bonus here. Now, as I stated, we're at pretty high elevation, and there's a lot of tulip poplars here. And the tulip poplars have really small leaves because we're so high up. But what I love about tulip poplar is that, look on the ground, I just scanned over here and I saw branch from a tulip poplar. And look at what's on here. Tinder. You've got a big pile of tinder on here that I'm going to pull off in a second. But I want to point out this particular plant, which is referred to as old man's beard, called usnea. And usnea is noted for its antibiotic principles, but we won't get into that in any detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off this usnea. And just strip off this tinder. We're going to put this in our packs, just in case we want to maybe have a little cozy fire later when we reach our destination, right? So, here we go. Okay, we've just arrived at our favorite ramp place. And if you look behind me here, not all these plants are wild leeks or ramps as they're called here in the south, but most of them are. And looking down here in front of me now, everything around me with leaves like this, these are all wild leeks, the greatest member of the wild onion family that we have in many people's opinion. And look at these beautiful little flowers mixed in here too. We have trilliums, these beautiful trilliums here in the mountains of western North Carolina. I believe this is wake robin. But anyway, before we get started digging, we're going to go down to our favorite spring and fill up our canteens. And then, when we come back, right before we start digging, I want to talk to you about ethical collection techniques. Because even though this looks like this could never be over-harvested, it can be. And so we always want to make sure we're only taking what we need. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so we made it down to the spring, and the climb up, you know, we drank a lot of water, but we knew that there would be clean water up here. Now, we featured this in a previous video, and this is out in the middle of nowhere, and it's a very high elevation, well above 4,000 feet. First thing I'm going to do is pour out the rest of the water that I brought from home. Now, we have very good well water at home, but it's not this water. So we're going to go ahead and dump that out. And you can see that this water here is actually coming down, and this is all enclosed really well. This water probably runs 365 days out of the year. Super clean, and I'm going to fill up for sure. It's just going to take a minute or two. Awesome. Not a speck of anything in it. Absolutely crystal clear and beautiful, and very, very cold. Ah, the blood of the earth. Amazing stuff. There's a plant right here in the foreground too that I'd like to show you. I'm going to cross the creek here. And it's this plant right here. It's all over this area. And this is a wild edible. Now, it's not in flower. I just know it because I've eaten it before. This, from my understanding, was called sochan or sanchan, however you want to pronounce it. And it is the green-headed coneflower, and it's in the aster family. Most people cook this. I know the Cherokees did, but it's very nice raw as well. Remember, if you don't know what a plant is, do not, I repeat, do not put it in your mouth. There's also wild violets around, and we're going to start digging ramps. And wait till you see how many ramps are really here. Let's go. Hi, we're back. Obviously, that spring is an amazing thing, and here in western North Carolina, we're blessed with a plethora of springs. If you know how to look at a spring, you can almost always get safe water out of it with a little bit of work sometimes. That one's already been kind of done by some people. So, wild leeks. It's this big green leaf beauty right here. Now, I stated before we went down to the spring that we need to talk about ethics. Wild leeks are considered to be a gourmet food, and unfortunately there are people that are digging up this resource by the hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, and selling them to fancy restaurants in New York and places like that. I would really strongly encourage people against doing such things. These plants take a long time to grow, and the Cherokees have an interesting way of collecting this. Now, I was told this by a Native American gal. And I want to show you what their technique is. Now, let's see if we can get this on camera. And I'm going to loosen the ground up for this little cluster here. And I think this is a pretty cool way to do it. We're going to do a little bit of both today. We're going to take some back whole, and we're going to cut some just like this. So if I pull this up, I can peel this down right to that root instead of pulling the whole thing out of the ground. And this is what she told me the Cherokees like to do, is they'll take a knife and they'll just cut just like that. That way the root hasn't even been pulled out of the ground, and they say that a new leek will grow out of that old rootstock. How awesome is that? We better get cutting. We're burning daylight, so here we go. Hey, we're back, and just to finalize our wild ramp or leek adventure, this is a kind of a sampling of what we found that day. Now, it's been a couple of days, but these have been in the refrigerator and they're still in perfect shape. And we got about 3 times this many. What do we do with the other batch? Right here we have this wild kraut. It's a mixture of cabbage along with the wild leeks, and this would be a probiotic food. Very, very healthful. Everyone should eat fermented vegetables. And as a bonus to our excursion that day, we stumbled upon some chaga, which is noted as a fire-making type fungus used in primitive fire-making, but also a lot of people consider this mushroom to be very, very medicinal. I won't get into that here. But anyway, just wanted to show you the little final booty that we got that day, and want to thank you again as always for watching. And remember, subscribe down below and stay tuned for more videos. You keep watching them, we'll keep making them. Until next time.